Today is July 10, 2023. My name is Rob Carr of Kalamazoo Right to Life, and this is Pro-Life Week. Get your tickets, reserve your seat, and go see this movie. See this movie. You owe it to yourself to see this movie. What movie? Sound of Freedom. Just came out last week, I think the day before the 4th of July. And my wife and I saw it last night. It's a powerful, powerful movie about, and it's a graphic plot line. It's not for the faint of heart, but it deals with sex trafficking of minors, of little children that are basically kidnapped and sold into slavery as sex slaves. It's a hard movie to watch, but you need to see it because this is happening all over the world. It's not, even though the story does take place in, I think, Honduras or Colombia, it is happening in other places as well. And a lot of these young children end up in the United States because we're a big market for the sex trade. See this movie. You really do need to see this movie. And here again, it does fit into this narrative of how modern society seems to disregard the humanity of children. We know they do when it comes to the unborn baby. That baby doesn't even exist. But they seem to trivialize even young children. There have been some horribly negative movie reviews of Sound of Freedom. And then they're by liberal outfits, and they're attacking it. It's conspiracy theories, and it's highly exaggerated, and it's all blah, 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 blah. If a liberal studio had put this thing out, they would think it was a powerful message film. But because it's being put out by Angel Studios, which has put out the TV or the internet program The Chosen, now it's approaching its 4th year, because it's a Christian outfit is distributing this film, that makes it an incredible source. And the main character, the main actor in the movie is Jim Caviezel, who played Jesus Christ in The Passion of the Christ back about 10, 12 years ago, the Mel Gibson blockbuster movie. And because he is a very devout, conservative Catholic who takes strong pro-life positions, because he is who he is, a devout Christian who is pro-life, well, that automatically makes his films irrelevant. Just propaganda. Trust me, the movie is not propaganda. It's a true story. There may be a few embellishments here just for the sake of movie, but how many documentaries, even Schindler's List played a little footloose with some of the details. Were they criticized? No, they weren't criticized. I'm sure Saving Private Ryan and a lot of movies take some liberties with some historical facts that doesn't disparage the storyline or falsify the narrative. It is a true story about a man, Tim Ballard, who rescues children. And I'm not going to give the storyline away. See this movie. See this movie. You'll be disturbed, but you won't be disappointed. But you will be disturbed. And maybe you'll be a little angry that this is happening in our doorstep. And our government seems to almost take a blind eye to this. We're allowing some of this to happen, and our southern border is wide open with tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people crossing over. And how many of these people are bringing in little children to become sex slaves? It is happening. It is happening, and we need to find a way to stop it. Okay, just two other little points before I close today. I saw that about a few weeks ago, a woman was murdered, a random act of violence in the state of Washington. And she's married, she has a young child. She was 32 weeks pregnant. I mean, that's almost full term, 32 weeks. Clearly the baby was viable. And the mother was killed and the baby died. Well, the state of Washington does not have legislation that will punish the killer for killing two people, for killing the mother and the unborn child. There is no law in Washington State. Yeah, and he will be convicted of first degree murder for this woman, but he will not be punished for the murder of the baby, because the state of Washington does not recognize that baby as a human being. Even though the baby was a viable baby at 32 weeks, Washington does not recognize the humanity of a 32-week-old baby. And that's a tragedy and a travesty. Last item, maybe on another negative note, state of Maine just passed legislation to extend abortion rights into the final trimester. And here again, it may not be up to the moment of birth, but any law that extends the right to abortion into the final trimester is a clear violation of even the Roe v. Wade policy on fetal viability, which was like 23, 24 weeks, and it should be like 22, 21 weeks. So, Maine has just been added to the roll call of crazy liberal states that have absolutely no regard for the humanity of the unborn child. And with that, just stressing to see this movie, see it, Sound of Freedom. You will not be disappointed. With that, I'll let you go. I'll see you next time.